Hey, 10635 here. Today we have a pretty neat unboxing. I've been waiting for this for a few days, and just it finally showed up. So I don't normally make unboxings where I show myself. It's usually just this way, but I figured I'd do one like this just so y'all can see my reaction. So big shout out to Mr. Mo for letting me know about this, because I didn't think this had returned. So you're all gonna, if y'all remember my post I made a few days ago, whatchamacallit. So you pretty much, a lot of you guys can know what this is. This is pretty much gonna be a display Dance Star Mickey from Fisher Price. But of course, as you can tell by the size of the box, this is not what you can call it, a whole case or anything. This is just the Mickey himself. Let's see if I can get this opened up. And I'll explain to you guys the whole little story behind this. Okay, of course, there'll be packing peanuts. You can get him out. Oh, that's cool. Alright, see if I can get him out. Okay, a few of them came out, but no biggie. I feel so surreal, holy crap. Alright. So this is what we have here. Man, that is so weird. Here are the back stoppers. Oh. Interesting, okay. Well, here he is. This is the Dance Star Mickey display toy. Does he have buttons? No buttons in the feet. No buttons in the hands. That is interesting, okay. So, of course, you guys remember back, I think, in 2010 when Dance Star Mickey was still in stores, select stores like, what was it? Toys R Us and Target, I believe, were the only two stores that got hold, that pretty much got the displays in. There were two versions of display. You had the, what's it called? You have the display which, this is before they got the, I think, the big ones out. You had the cardboard one, you had a little screen, you push the button, and it will play a little video demonstration of Dancer Mickey, and then eventually they took those down, and next thing you know, they got the whole huge case where he's inside, and you had two buttons, Latin and Techno, and I think you got the ones, Moonwalk and another one. I think it was Disco. Yeah, somewhere around there. Excuse me. And so from there, of course, you push one of the two buttons. It was a motion activate too, so the minute you walk by, he would like start interacting with you. The lights would come on. And you push one of the two buttons, he would start dancing. And of course, this is the Mickey that would be inside of that said case. So, of course, as a kid, when I first saw these, I wanted the display so badly because of how cool it looked. But of course, most of them were still operational, so didn't do anything. I know my Toys R Us, my local Target did not have them, at least not that I know of. Yes, they did not have the Mickey display, so I think we only got, it was only Toys R Us that got it. And eventually the display was completely no longer working. I guess the batteries had died because these displays, most of them were battery powered, but they took like about 25D batteries or 36 something batteries, always like either C's or D's. So I guess with the display, the batteries had died and they just weren't going to do anything about it. And I think I did ask them at the time if could I purchase the display because it was no longer working, and they told me, sorry, we have to send it back to the company. But I did get official word that usually the displays never went back to the companies. From there, it was the store manager, like the retail manager of a store. It was up to them if what do we want to do with it. And from what I was told, they would either sell it or give it to an employee or do a raffle on it, one way or another. Of course, I didn't see. I've only came across, I think, one or two displays of the Dancer Mickey show up on eBay. I think both of them were like unused, brand new ones. After I haven't seen any secondhand ones, because I know I've seen Let's Rock Elmo, Rockstar Mickey, and I think that's about it. I know Buzz's display used to be on there too at one point, but yeah. And of course, so now the story behind this one. I remember at one point I had randomly looked on eBay and looked up Dancer Mickey display, and the sticker kit for the display did show up for sale. Like it was a way to purchase, but after it like disappeared, it never sold. I don't think. Hmm. And when I scrolled further down, this one showed up, and it sold for like I think $16. And I was like, oh, I can't believe I missed the Mickey itself. And next, you know, like about I guess you could say a few days ago, Mr. Mo messages me saying, "Hey, look at this," and it's the display Mickey because he could see the cord. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And he told me that his friend had found it, and I'm like, "Is it for sale?" He said, "Actually, yeah, it's for sale. It's on eBay." And before he could send me the link, I looked it up immediately and found the listing. Sent him an offer, but I'm like, you know what? I got to snatch this dude up, and that's exactly what I did. I bought him, but then from there, I looked back and saw listings, and I'm like, wait, this is the one from back in December. What the heck? So I was like, "Oh man, they're probably gonna cancel my order because they probably released it on accident." And the lady told me, she was like, I asked her where she got this. She told me she found it at a thrift store. So it was like really crazy to see that a thrift store ended up with the display Mickey, but not the entire casing. Unless they had the case and just didn't want to sell the whole thing. So they just took the Mickey out. And so I asked her, so what happened? Did like someone not pay for it? So she told me that's exactly what happened. So someone originally had purchased this and didn't pay for it. So I was like, well, dang. So I got lucky. So big thanks to Mr. Mo. So let's take a good look at the Mickey. So he looks like your old traditional Mickey. I mean, if you didn't have this cable hanging out, you would be like, oh, it's just a regular Mickey. But what's interesting is, so I guess in the display, he is still able to go forward and backwards, given that the backstoppers and everything seemed like they still work. I didn't think he even had those, but it makes sense because whenever the arms go up, the backstoppers get pulled and he's able to go backwards. What else do we have? He doesn't have an on and off switch, of course. You can see from right around there. And of course, he has this like long black cable, and usually there would be I think a metal, not metal, but like some plate that screws down here. The cables go right through it, so you don't see this cable. The only time we were able to see this cable on Mickey is there's a video on YouTube where one had somehow came, I guess, detached from the plate, but what didn't make sense is that the plate was nowhere to be seen. From what at least I could tell, I couldn't also tell too because the quality of the video wasn't too great. But yeah, that's the only time you could see this whole thing just sticking out. And this is really interesting. I'm curious. I need to count how many wires are on this. So we got one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you got 12 cables coming out of here, which is very fascinating. Now, the one thing I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be wondering is the Mickey able to function on its own? Now, that right there, I don't know, because after learning with the V2 and Tribot display, of course, this was made by a whole different company. Another company made the display for Fisher Price. But while we use displays, I'm not sure how exactly theirs worked, as in who made them. Hmm. Because I think while we made our own displays, they got a company to make it for them, and they just had branded as their own. At least that's what I think. I'm not too sure. Because with the V2 and the Tribot display and the chip display we own, of course the chip display wasn't complete, so we don't know if there was any like stickers on it. But Tribot's has a serial number, but there was nothing else to it other than that. But so with some displays, I know they may have a board in them, and it just has a program for like the movements and everything. Sometimes the toy tub is just nothing on the inside, and pretty much the whole display itself controls the toy because it might be a main board. I think at some point I do, or maybe might actually open them up and remove the front chest portion to see if there is a board in him or not. Because, like I said, the V2 and Tribot, they have their own boards, and they usually, I think, interact with the display, or sometimes I don't really know how to describe it, but something I am curious, which I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all will be curious too, is does he have springs like the battery springs? Which wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't, because that's just how displays are. They wouldn't waste that much material. Nope, no springs at all whatsoever. That is interesting. And no, and there's no little ribbon thing to it either. And something I'm remembering, I think most Dancer Mickey's the wheel bits, not the tires themselves, but the little thing that holds the wheels on were usually yellow, I think. This one just has them black. It's so weird to like feel his hand and not feel like a button. His foot, you would think with the foot to have at least had some little placeholder, like the button just glued or something. But let's see about this one because I see there's a zip tie on there. I'm kind of curious what that's all about. Probably nothing too much, but okay, I see why he has zip tie. It's only mostly because it doesn't get pulled out or anything. But from what I'm seeing in here, that does all these road cables do tend to go up all the way further up to his leg. From what I can see, because the only thing that makes me wonder is so there's one or two things. Either Mickey has his own board with like a chip and everything integrated on it, and he controls the displays. Because sometimes it tends to be weird. The toy itself might be the one to control the display or something. I don't know. It tends to be weird. Because I know with Tribot's display, if you take them out of the case and just plug it in, the lights will come on, and that's about it. Of course, my Tribot display doesn't work, so. So crazy. And the fact he has all these cables, because let me see, he has one for the feet. He has one that controls both arms, if I remember correctly. And then he has one for the head. So that's 3 motors, I think. Because everything around is string controlled. Like his hands are string controlled. And his these bits here are string controlled. And the back stoppers are also string controlled. So if any of y'all ever watch videos of Mickey's where either one arm is moving or one arm isn't moving or he's just not able to do anything entirely, it's mostly because so this is something that's really sad about the Dancer Mickey's. Going deaf into a little bit something different now. Because I noticed this with the last repair I did on one. These things are not really holding up well anymore. So especially if you notice that when these pieces, like the foot is just like dangling like this, but still attached, there's this one rod here around the hip area, and there's this like plastic bar that connects to it. The little pin sticks out. It usually breaks off. Not the pin. The pin's metal, but what holds the pin tends to break off, and that's why the foot tends to just be like floppy. Now, with certain bits like the arms or him not being able to go backwards or do the whole moonwalk thing, so everything is string controlled. There's little bits inside of the sides of the legs, and you get two things, one little square, and on the end, well, on the end string you have this little square piece that has a screw in it. The screw that goes through it tends to break from the holder, and next you know that whole function tends to break. Gluing it may help sometimes, but it tends to just be a pain to deal with because you have to have that string on there tight so it doesn't just pull on the string and make it loose. But what is it? Back to this fella. So I will see what exactly those wires connect to because if anything, let me see because it's 2, 4, 6. So there's 6. So let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So say those 6 use that, and from there you're only left with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 6. Wait, there's 12 wires, right? Yeah, there's 12. So you're only left with like 6 more wires, and that can go with either of the following: the little sensors, pretty much the I won't say potentiometers, but he really doesn't have potentiometers because these ones are different. But we'll just call them potentiometers. There's 3 for here, and then there tends to be 3 for the mouth. You know that honestly could be it. That might actually would be it. So I guess there could be a chance that all these wires are just for the motors and the position sensors of the Mickey, but Well, I won't know because the thing that gets me is that one black wire is like really thick, and I'm not sure what all that is for. Like it's thicker than the rest. All the other cables just look ordinary. But yeah, I mean, feeling wise, it feels the same. But something I did notice is that since he doesn't have a button in this hand, it makes sense why in most displays, this arm here is much more springy because there's no button, there's no cable to like make it more steady. So it's like, yeah, so very cool. I mean, overall he's in like pretty good shape. I think I paid like 17 for him overall, and not gonna lie, I'm not regretting on the price I paid for it. But this is actually just straight up really cool to just have. I mean, I personally collect a lot of the display stuff, and just having something like this is actually really cool. Whenever I see a display, I always jump on it if it's like at a price that I can afford it at. But yeah, I don't think I have really much else to say other than it's just really cool. Actually, having a Mickey Mouse that was once trapped in a case. The only thing I'm most curious is like how exactly was he screwed? Because I noticed that on two of the side holes there was something was up. Like I don't even know. Very interesting though. 2009 Mattel Incorporated. That's right, as Mattel did this, but it's still Fisher Price. Very interesting. Hmm. I didn't even look at the tag because I don't think there's really anything too different with the tag. No, nothing really. Nope. Well, guess that's all I talked about with these Mickeys. So hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.